although it's probably way overdue, I wanted to share and talk about like how and why I sold 2 SaaS companies over the last couple of years, within the span of like 2 years or so. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Wilco. I'm from the Netherlands, as you can tell by my terrible accent. And I call myself a marketing geek. I love everything about marketing. I'm a bit of a nerd and talking about businesses, scaling up businesses, building teams, and all that good stuff. And over the last year or so, I've been pretty much offline. Like I'm online, but like I'm not actually producing. I'm not actually putting my face out there ever since I sold my last company. And I figured, you know what? I'm just going to hit record, shoot a video. For those who are following me, this is not going to be one of those videos that's going to be a hit. This is going to be one of those videos where I'll drop hidden gems throughout this video, but it's probably going to be a couple hundred people who are going to watch this. It's not going to be for the YouTube algorithm or anything like that. This is just for those who are like, want to know what I've been working on, why I sold this business, what's been happening behind the scenes. For those of you who've been following me, as you probably know, over the last couple of years, I sold by 2 main companies. One was Connectio, which was a tool to help businesses essentially run their Facebook ads better and more efficient using automation. And the last one was UpViral, which is a referral marketing platform. Highly recommend to check it out. UpViral.com, still going very strong, but I'm not actively engaged with it anymore. How I ended up selling both of these companies obviously didn't start 2 years ago. Like this all started years ago when I started those 2 businesses. And the funny thing is I actually started both businesses on literally the same day, right? Both businesses, they were both multi-7-figure businesses. And they were both started on the very same day, which is like not something I would recommend anyone to do. But being like a risk averse person, I like, especially back in the day, I'm more balanced now, but back in the day, I wanted to make sure I have a backup for everything, like a redundancy for everything. If anyone in the team gets hit by a bus, there should be no issue. Obviously that's an issue, right? But not in terms of the business. And I sort of went all in on that principle, even to the tune I built 2 businesses in parallel, just to make sure that if one business something were to happen, that was okay because I had the other business. Again, not the best move, but that's what ended up happening. And I sort of built these businesses up in parallel. And it was really essentially 2 products of one business, essentially, because some teams are separate, but like largely like marketing team, for example, there was all one team, working on both of these products, working on both of these businesses. And around 2021, I started to realize, hey, I just didn't enjoy particularly one of them anymore. And had this team of 45 people or so worldwide. We're a remote company, so like people across Asia and Europe, mainly, somewhat in the USA, but mostly Europe and Asia because it just works better. We're time-wise. So we're at around 45 people or so. And at that point, like the whole world shut down for obvious reasons, but everything, like we had to stay inside and whatnot and all that crazy stuff. And at the same time, I got my first daughter as well. Like I got 2 kids, boy and first a girl, later a boy. I got my first daughter. And that's obviously a big shift. And I was just stressed out, like completely stressed out, way too stressed. Was not healthy. So as someone who's always helping out friends and telling them like, if that's happening, you have to do something about it. Like you cannot complain about it and not take action on it. So as soon as I realized that, I was like, all right, I need to make a change here. I'm going to cut down and just sell one of the 2 products, which was Connectio at the time, which I sold. And that also helped me because that made sure that like the team went down from like 45 to like 20-ish. And had the luxury of the people that I enjoyed working with most. They were working on the UpViral part. So I was happy, right? Like, and UpViral always has been and still is my favorite product. Like it's been, I'd say more like a passion product. I've always been loving the use of referrals in my marketing and just getting word of mouth to spread because word of mouth is the best thing ever, right? Yes, I love running ads. Yes, I love working with affiliates and partnerships. Like, all these things, yes. But if you add word of mouth on top, it just makes everything better. So it's a bit of a passion project of mine as well. And I figured if I've always worked on 2 different businesses, if I'm just going to focus on just one, that one's just going to explode. That's what I thought. But what I ended up realizing right after I connected, like my passion just wasn't there anymore. And I think one thing that's always been true in the past is that I was never really good at sticking at one product for a very long time. And I deliberately made that decision to, I don't want to just launch new products every single time because in the past, I launched a new business every year, which is insane. And that's also what kept me at a sort of lower, I wouldn't be able to scale to the point where I was able to scale those businesses because you just have to stick around and build the systems, the teams and the culture and all that in order to really grow. I realized if I took back one and focus on one, but that's when I realized I've been working on that business for so long and it's a great business. It still is, but it's just not my business. But I figured if I'm just going to push through, I will get that spark back. I will get that passion back. And the truth is, I didn't get that passion back. So then I figured, you know what? Like, it's a good business, healthy business, good team, very solid team, like good leadership team in place as well. So what I'll do is I'll just work myself out of the business, right? So like, essentially work myself so I don't have a job anymore, which I succeeded in, right? At some point, like right after my second kid was born, he was 2 or 3 months old at a time. My wife and our two kids, we traveled the world. We went to Indonesia just to spend 3 months just with the family. And those were 3 months. But again, a team of just 20, 25 people or so. I didn't do any work. Like the only exception is like the monthly salary payments. That was it. No calls, no Slack messages, no fires to put out. We got to that point where I literally was not needed in anything for day to day of the business, right? Like everything was done. The only thing I was needed for sometimes, because my face was part of the marketing, I still had to show up for videos every once in a while. But even for that 3-month period, didn't need to do that because my team was able to cover for that and shoot videos with their faces on it and stuff like that. You would think that was great, right? Because I still own the business. It was a healthy business. It was growing. It's awesome. And it didn't require my time or attention as much, which is great. So now I had the option and the luxury to, like, hey, you just start something new. And you would think that is what I would do. But the crazy thing is, like, human mind can play tricks, which means that I didn't end up starting anything new because for some weird reason, I just didn't, I don't know. Actually, I do not know why I didn't start a new business on the side. And I think it's because my mind space still went to UpViral. Even though I wasn't involved in the day to day, I was still there. I was talking to the team, sticking my nose into projects. I just really couldn't let go. And I realized that the thing that'd be best for me to do is just burn my boat, because UpViral kept me comfortable. And I think that was the main issue, right? UpViral kept me comfortable because, again, like financially wise, was doing well, the business was growing, the team was doing awesome. And again, didn't need my time. So that made me comfortable. And I think comfort is a dangerous place for an entrepreneur. So I had to burn my boat. And that's essentially what I did by selling UpViral as well. And I'm saying this easily, right? Oh, yeah, just sold this business, Obviously, yes, there's a whole process involved in order to get to that point. Like even the fact I had two businesses, Connectio and UpViral, which was really one team. Like you cannot just sell that part and rip it apart. There's like a 6-month process ahead of time to hiring new people, building like the infrastructure to like 2 different teams. And then even then go out and find potential investors who would handle that size of business and make sure it's all well integrated and all that. Probably another time I'll go more in depth into that. But essentially, those are stressful times to sell a business like that. Like it's not always an easy feat, but it was definitely the right thing for me at that time. And now looking backwards, I know it was the right decision for me to make. I definitely craved a new challenge. I definitely craved a sense of freedom I didn't get before. And it's a funny thing about freedom, right? Because if I were to go back a couple of years in time and you would ask me what freedom was, my answer would be exactly what I had at UpViral. Like I had all the freedom in the world. Like I had the financial freedom. I had the freedom to do whatever I want. I could travel the world for a couple of months, not having to be hassled by the team. I had full freedom. And yet I have more freedom now because now I also have like the creative freedom, which is completely in between my ears. It's a completely made up thing. And yet that is how I experienced it. And right now that I've sold companies and I have no team whatsoever, I don't know. It's a sense of relief and just like I have a complete clean slate. I can do whatever I want. And again, I had the opportunity before as well, but in some weird way, especially when you have a team, you also start to group think, right? You start a group think and you go in circles within that group of people. I could have just broke out of that and had my own path, but like for some weird reason, I'm too much of a people pleaser. I would say I would still go and work on stuff that would get approval within that team, which is like the most insane thing. It doesn't make any sense. And that's maybe also why I'm sharing this video, just because at every level, there's like crazy stuff in your mind just playing tricks. And sometimes you just have to sort of break away and recognize what kind of crazy patterns or crazy stuff you're actually doing, right? So anyway, so after I sold that business as well, I was like, there's always a time where I still have to work on the business. After that, I just went to travel with the kids again. My kids were 1 and 3 years old. So we traveled to South Africa for a few months. We went to Indonesia. We went to Singapore. Like there was one big 3-month trip. And that was great because that was the first time ever, or at least for a very long time, where I didn't have to do anything. Like I did stuff, but I didn't have any obligation. I didn't have a team that could call me if they needed me. Or they, even though again, like 2 years prior, I went to Bali for 3 months and nobody ever called me. But just the fact that nobody even could, there were no customers that I had to support. There was no obligations whatsoever. That was ultimate freedom. Just to spend that time with the little ones, spending time for 3 months, going into nature, doing safari, and just doing all that good stuff while they're still young because they grow up fast. As for those of you who have kids, probably already know. So that's been insanely valuable. And now that I'm back in the Netherlands, it's just great to be able to spend more time with friends, more time with family, just doing things that really interest me. So when people ask me like, hey, what are you working on? It's not so much that I'm currently working on a business. It's more like I'm working on all these different smaller projects that just that get me excited. Like obvious stuff like AI. Yes, that gets me excited. So I'm building some stuff in there. Is that going to be a business? No, probably not. But I enjoy it. And I'm using that during this, what I call my curious phase, to figure out what's going to be next. Because one thing that I realized, like it's going to be so easy if I just wanted to start the same thing as I did before. Not the exact same, but if I were to start a similar-ish business as before in the marketing space, some kind of technology business, like a software as a service, for example, like I know how to scale it. I know how to grow it pretty fast because my skill set is inside marketing. And that's a useful thing to have if you want to get a lot of people into a new platform. But even though that's the easy thing to do, I'm not sure if that's the most exciting thing because right now I'm not into how do I scale my business the fastest. I'm like, how do I get something that's truly fulfilling? How do I really make a bigger impact? And I just want to make sure I don't just start climbing a new ladder and just building a new business, building a team, doing all these things. And then I'm at the top of the ladder. And then I realize, oh, crap, like I put my ladder against the wrong wall. So right now I'm taking time to just figuring out new areas. So for example, a couple of weeks ago, I went into the bookstore just to explore all the areas where I would normally never go into. What do normal people read? Just to see, because I don't know what I don't know. And that's, again, I'm calling this my curious phase. And yes, I'm doing some things like investment and I'm a co-owner and a couple of things, but nothing that actually has my active engagement. And yes, sometimes it's even hard to resist. A couple of weeks ago, I also went to Upwork. I had this idea for a SaaS business, and like being be me, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to build this thing right now. Go buy a couple of domain names, go to Upwork, hire some people. And then I got a quote from a party that could build it all out, and they were charging me $50,000. And at that point, I started thinking, hey, should I actually do this? Then I realized, like, probably I shouldn't. Like, this is not the right world, not the right opportunity. And I also realized, hey, I could actually build this with no code, because you can build something, you can hire developers, build it all out, or you can use no code or low code to get 70, 80% of the thing done. And I realized, like, hey, that's actually a fun new thing to learn. Like, I'm just going to do no code for a little bit. I'm just going to build some things together myself. Is that going to be effective of my time? Is it going to be like, no, it's going to be much more effective. I just hire some people, right? But I enjoy doing it, which is what I'm allowing myself to do for this period of time. The real reason why I'm recording this video, and potentially some follow-up videos here as well, is I figured, you know what, as I'm going to start something completely new, because again, let's face it, I'm too young to retire. Even though I'm bald and all that, like I'm still too young. You wouldn't believe it, but I'm still too young. So I will start something new eventually, but I don't know what yet. I figured, you know what, it'd be fun if I just document this process here on this channel. Maybe it's just for me, actually. Like maybe it's just as a way as an outlet to talk to all of you. And probably this video is going to be like getting less than 100 views, and that's totally okay. If you are watching, I would very much appreciate letting me know in the comments, like what you like or what you'd like me to talk about in the next couple of videos. But I think it would be fun to just, with the experience I have under my belt, like doing tens of millions of dollars online, and just being at that place where I'm like, currently don't have a business, or at least not one that actively needs my engagement. I don't have a team, like nothing, right? And not even an idea, right? Like I'm just like this crazy dude here in the Netherlands shooting a video, and what that process is going to be like. What are the requirements for me to start a business? Like, how do I build a team? How do I all the way from start? Because I think that could be interesting to some of you. And if it is, please do let me know. So again, this is going to be raw, sort of like uncut. And yeah, let me know if you want me to shoot more videos like that. So with that, Hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you potentially soon. Cheers.